Hi, and welcome to the final week of this series called Mine. In this series, we have been talking about what does it mean to make our faith our own. See, we've learned things from our Sunday school teachers, we learned things from our pastors, we learned things from our parents, and now we're making that decision to follow Jesus on our own. We're making that decision to claim our faith. And this series has been a really great series, and I really hope it's benefited and grown your faith. Speaking about the different things of how do we develop and grow our faith on our own. So today we're going to be talking about doubt. Doubt and how important that is in the growth of our faith. So a little bit about me. I don't like ladders. Well, let me preference that a little bit. I don't like getting really high on ladders. You know, as you start to get higher and higher and higher, I'm starting to look down, that ground is getting further and further and further away. And my mind just starts playing tricks on me, and I just start getting very nervous. You've probably experienced before, your hands get clammy and sweaty, and your skin starts to get really clammy as well. And you're just like, I can't do it. And there's moments where I'm done. Like, I can't get any higher than this. You just feel the ladder kind of wobble. It's like, ugh, I can't do that. You know, this illustration is kind of what's true about our faith. We kind of take in our faith in steps and we grow. We make that first initial decision to follow Jesus. And then as life goes on and as we develop in our faith, as we read the Word, as we're around other believers, we start going a little higher and higher. And then we're like, whoa, and we think, I don't know if I can believe that next step. I don't know if I can trust in that next step. So we're going to be talking about how faith, or how doubt really is a critical and important part in growing our faith. So we're going to turn to Mark chapter 20, Mark chapter 9, verses 20 through 24. So Mark chapter 9, verses 20 through 24. A little bit of background. There was a man who had a demon possessed, his son was demon possessed. He took him to the disciples, and the disciples couldn't cast the demon out. So Jesus shows up. And this is the part where we catch up with the story. Verse 20, it says, they brought the boy. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell on the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, "How long has he been like this?" "From childhood," he answered. "It has often thrown him in the fire or water to kill him. But if you could do anything, take pity on us and help us." "If you can," Jesus said. "Everything is possible for one who believes." Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, "I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief." Now this is just a fantastic story about how doubt can really grow and develop your faith. So my first point is dealing with doubt is part of growing your faith. So kind of what I mentioned, dealing with doubt is part of growing your faith. So doubt is an integral part of faith, or questions, right? I think if you're a part of any organization, or if you're following anybody and they don't allow you to ask questions, I would be very, very cautious. Anything that you're part of, any group, any organization, or any person you're following, you should be allowed to ask questions. Now, that person may not be able to answer every question, but they should be willing to hear your questions. Listen, so here, I'm not running a cult, right? Can't even get that word out. I'm not running a cult. But what I'm running is I want people to grow in their Christian faith, so asking questions is necessary. It's necessary to take that next step to continue to ask, because when you ask questions, that means you're actually wanting to learn, right? So if you're in school and you never ask any questions, I mean, it's still considered that you understand, but if you don't understand further, you ask that next step question. And that really gets teachers excited when they see you asking that question that takes you to that next step of understanding what you're trying to learn. Same goes with Christianity. It's asking that next question. It's trying to gather more information and learn and delve in. And sometimes those questions are motivated by doubts, like I just don't understand, so I have this question, right? So you just don't want to crush our doubts and then put them away, because they'll grow and they'll fester and they remain there. We want to get to our doubts, question our doubts. Like, why am I doubting? Right? So we can take that next step. And this leads me to my next point, that motivation matters. When overcoming your doubts, motivation matters. You see, think of it this way. If you're in an all-black room or a foggy room and you can't see, but you know that there's a way out. You know there's a door handle somewhere, right? But you don't know what's in the darkness, and you're kind of afraid and you're doubting, but you're reaching out, right? You're reaching and you're reaching and you're moving about. That's one way to act upon your doubts. The other way, say you're in the same situation, but you're not reaching out. You're stepping away. You're not putting your hand out, and you're pulling away. You're like, I don't want to reach out. I don't want to believe. I don't want to see. Right? So there's a reaching out of doubt where you're trying to grasp, to understand, and then there's a doubt where you pull away and you say, nope, I'm not reaching out to that. Those are two motivations. One's a motivation to reach for that door handle, to open it and allow the light in. The other motivation is not to seek that door at all and to allow the darkness, right? Like, I don't want to understand it. I don't want to grow. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do this. Now, if there's some of you that have that motivation where you're just hands off, I encourage you to reach out. Don't allow your doubts to have this sense of fear. Just reach out. And we know how he addresses this man who has doubt. He doesn't say, I can't do anything for you. Jesus says, I'll help you. So this man, in his motivation, he has a motivation for the well-being of his son, right? So his motivation is to reach out in faith. In the midst of his doubts, he has enough faith to reach out. He's motivated by the well-being of his son. Same goes in our Christian faith. Do we have that enough faith to reach out? To reach out to something we may not quite understand, but we know there's a door handle there. We know there's a light that we can allow in. Or are we hands off and allowing the darkness to cloud our understanding and allow our doubts to continue to grow? So motivation is a big factor and growing and developing our faith. You see, doubt will be there, but how we handle that doubt matters. Is our motivation in how we handle the doubt to reach out, or is our motivation in how we handle that doubt to pull away? That would really has direct implications to the growth of our faith. And the third thing I want to mention is seek the person of Jesus. So we have in this story, first the man has a common sense of doubt, which is incredible too, because during Jesus' time, there are many people who saw his miracles and still doubted his words, still doubted that he was the Messiah. So this man has somewhat of a common doubt, but his motivation is to seek out the well-being of his son. So he has a doubt, but he has faith enough to reach out. Faith enough to reach out. And who's he reaching for? Who does he go to? The person of Jesus. The person of Jesus. Now this isn't really important, especially when it comes, again, to growing your faith. Think of this scenario. Say a stranger comes up to you and they state a fact. But you don't know if you believe it or not. Why? Because the person who told you that is a stranger. You don't know anything about them. You don't know where they came from. You don't know where they're going. You don't know their past. You don't know anything. A stranger just walks up to you, states a fact. You're not going to believe it, really, right? But say that stranger, say you spend a year with them, 2 years, 3 years with them. That stranger no longer becomes a stranger. You actually know their name, you know their past, you know their future, you know their daily habits, you know everything about them. So when they come up to you and they state a fact, you're like, yeah, I believe you, because I trust your character, I trust your person, I know who you are, I know you. It's the same with our relationship with Jesus. You know, we make that decision to follow Jesus, right? And we follow him and we're like, okay, I place my faith in Jesus, but we don't quite know him yet. Jesus is real, right? And this is important. Jesus is actually in heaven. I fully believe Jesus is in heaven. That Jesus is a real person, flesh and bone, just like we are. If you go back 2,000 years ago, you would find a man named Jesus of Nazareth. Flesh and bone. You could touch him. That's important. He's not some mystical figure. He's not a spirit cloud or some ghost. He's a real human being that you could grab onto. You could pinch him and he would say, ow, right? So this is important. So when you seek the person of Jesus, you're seeking his character. You're like, you know what? I need to learn more about Jesus. I need to know more about his character. I need to spend time with Jesus. So that when you come to hard verses or you come to hard texts and you're like, I don't know, but you know what? I trust the character of Jesus. You come to a hard passage, you're like, this is really hard for me to take in. This is really hard for me to believe. But Jesus, I trust your character. I trust that you're loving, that you're merciful, that you're gracious, that yet you forgive. I trust you, Jesus, that you are with me and your presence is always near to me. I trust that your Holy Spirit is inside of me. I trust that you know and have this connection with the Father. I trust that you've forgiven me of my sins. See, when you know the person of Jesus, it allows you to dig deeper and understanding different steps of your faith. It helps you overcome those doubts. So when you know Jesus and your eyes are closed and you're reaching out, you know that eventually you'll grab the hand of Jesus. You know if Jesus says there is a light, you know there's a door handle there because Jesus said there is. Because Jesus said there is a light there. There is hope there. And again, you could be the other way where you allow that darkness to shut you off and you never reach out that hand for Jesus. Because Jesus has a hand reached out for you. Jesus is at that other end of the door that you open up and allow the light in to clear out the darkness of doubt. So this is really important, trusting the person of Jesus. You see, our faith as important, and now listen to me, the Bible is critically important, all right? But Jesus is more important. So I don't place my faith exactly in just the words. I place my faith in what the words represent. These words are representing the person of Jesus. They were explaining to me who Jesus is, what Jesus did, where Jesus is. These words of this text help me understand this person of Jesus. That's why the Bible is so critical, because it helps us understand the personhood of Jesus. Now I hope in the midst of your doubts, in the midst of your struggles, because we all have them. I have doubts as well and struggles. In the midst of those, we got to keep in mind that we continue to reach out into the darkness, believing and knowing the hand of Jesus is there. And believing and knowing that when we allow Jesus in, when we open the door, the light will come in and shed some understanding. Now, I will say we're not going to believe everything. We're not going to understand everything to how we want to understand it, right? Sometimes God holds some things back, and that's okay because we trust, right? We trust the character of Jesus. We know that he loves us. We know that he's forgiven us. We know that his presence is with us. And those are critical and important when we struggle with doubt in our faith. I thank you so much for watching these videos and following this series. I'm really excited about our next series. It's going to be called Headlines. And Headlines is going to be about the recent things that have been going on in our nation and addressing those from a biblical perspective. So our next series is going to be called Headlines, and I'm just really excited about presenting a biblical perspective to the things that we're seeing in the world today. Thank you, and I hope that these videos have really been encouraging and strengthening your faith.